We are live. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our second Iqra Child's live show of 2022. I'm so excited for this one because switched up from last time, gave you guys a fantasy. If you're new here, the Iqra Child's is my Muslim book club. Every month, we read a different book by a Muslim author. And in February, we read Descent of the Drowned by what's her name? Anna Laldine, I believe is her name. Hold on, let me grab my copy. So I'm like with the girls, let's be present together. Hold on. Okay, period. Hi. Hello, hello. I'm so excited, you guys. I feel like I haven't like really been talking about this book since I finished it. So I'm like excited to like get back in the swing of things. Yes, girl, I go live like every week. And then these are monthly. I'll be on here. Come on. You gotta catch me. You just gotta have your notifications turned on. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're in the Discord server. This live show is also very exciting because our very own Ala is gonna be joining as the co-host. Okay. This kind of just happened randomly. I don't necessarily feel like I have to have a co-host every month, but it's always nice to have somebody else's perspective other than mine because I'm always sitting here talking with you guys. I have mad videos of me talking, and I literally talk by myself every Sunday for Sincerely Sundays. So in our Discord server, which should be linked in the description, is it this way? Is it that way? Is it down there? I don't know. Wherever the description box is, join our Discord server. I saw that Ola really had strong opinions about the book, and I was like, she's an unofficial writer and author and editor, you know what I mean? So I really was like, let's bring Shorty in. Nina, por favor, okay? Please, not 30 pages left. I'm telling you, she's really stepping into that role. She's really giving it to the girls. So let me just make sure I send her the link. Let me tell everybody in the server that we are live. But okay, like y'all, if you were here last month, then you know what I like to do in the beginning of the live show is give me your ratings, even if you're in the middle of the book. How are you feeling about it so far? But just your rating. We're going to go into details later. I like to always ask this because it's a potential that you may change your rating after we talk about stuff. Maybe somebody will open up your eyes to something. You may drop a star, add a half star. There's so many possibilities. So, yeah, so just let me know in the chat what is your number rating from 1 to 5 of the book, even if you're not finished with it. Okay, 3.5. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's a good rating. I'll reveal my rating at the end or later on. I feel like 3.5 is definitely fair. Why you didn't read the book? What's tea? You actually had a whole month and a week. What's tea, sis? If it's a 3, it's not gonna drop if you haven't reached the end yet. So no. Actually, if you're at a 2.5, you may rise up to a 3 because the ending was really good. So yeah, I definitely don't feel like you're not gonna lose a star. You may add a little something. Okay. I really feel like this is an average rating. She's already making excuses. She will be here whenever I ask her to be here. Okay, just please. Please ignore the noise that y'all hear outside. Y'all already know Philly. Please. Y'all already know how that goes. Yeah, the ending is really good. Torn between a 3.5 and a 4. Okay. A 4 is a bit steep. Bit steep. I'm not gonna lie to you. Bit steep. No, literally. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Not this, not this. Okay, let me send over the link so she can join, so she can really start harassing everyone. I'm really excited to talk about this book because it's such a weird book. And I say weird in a good way. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm obsessed with the book. More so like I really respect the author for like the lengths that she went to, the way that she really just like took things there. And the main thing is she kept me intrigued the entire book. There was never a point where I was bored. Even if things bothered me or I feel like it could have been better, I still was like interested to see what happened next. I truly didn't have like, well, I did have assumptions about how the book would go, and it didn't. Like, when you hear about like a cursed girl, a cursed prince, like an enslaved girl, and like he frees her, and like they get to little nada. So even my expectations of like what this book was gonna be, that it didn't happen. Also, it was less fantasy than I was expecting. But y'all know how first books in a fantasy series is. They always give you setup, plot, world building, magic building, background stories, info dumps, just all of that. You know what I mean? So you really have to like stick around and see if the book is really going to be worth it or not. I'm trying to figure out how I should close my window, y'all. Hold on. Because Lord knows what these niggas are talking about outside. Oh, perfect timing. Alla is here, everyone. She'll keep you occupied while I close my window. Introduce yourself to the girls.
Hi, my name is Ola. Most people pronounce my name wrong, but that's fine. How's everyone doing? Oh, I just realized you can see the chat here.
I'm back. Somebody was outside Aki Ken. I'm like, sorry, por favor. Please, I'm busy. I hate how mixed it is actually so far, like how the names are so mixed between Eastern and Western. I can acknowledge this, but I think that it is reminiscent of what the time is actually like. When you think about colonization, like that's really what was going on. You really have like all these people different speaking like all these people different speaking different languages. Like even right now, kind of off topic, I'm watching Outlander, and so they're in France this season, and you literally have like the main guy who's Scottish, so he speaks Gaelic. You have his wife who speaks English. They both know French because they're in France. Somebody speaks German. Like he's still wearing a kilt, but then other people are wearing like traditional French clothes. Like it's really when you get to like colonization, and especially when you think about like the Silk Road in the East, I feel like it was very like you definitely would have had people still using like some spears and like bows and arrows, and then some people was really using guns. Like that's just
She
what
also
it is.
mentions that she was gonna do that. She did at the end where she drew the like references from. So I kind of forgave that because I expect.
Yeah, I'm surprised you forgave that because you know how you are.
Oh, there's a lot of other stuff. We'll get into
You
it.
you you know how you are.
There's a
Yeah,
lot.
there's not a lot of fantasy. If you're really like a fantasy girl, your feelings may be a little hurt. It's more like fantastical vibe. It's fantasy like in the air, not necessarily on the page.
I think we all went into it expecting something way different. We should have known what we're getting into when we went into it.
I don't know what this. I honestly have no idea what this book is about. Like
I dead ass until like 50% and I was dead ass sure this was standalone. And I was like, wait a minute.
I
Nothing
have no idea what
can't
was
be a
going on.
standalone.
Oh, oh my god! Wow, the girlies are coming like literally off rip with the heat. What do you feel about that? Ola, how do you feel?
Which one did you prefer?
But don't ask me. Okay, don't ask me. Okay. I have the bookmark in here. Okay. All I'm gonna say is, do I need to say anything else? You think I have an opinion beyond that face? Y'all don't know me. I have nothing to say.
This is
Okay,
so
but in all
I was not expecting this.
what?
Like people to like Roma more than Levi because I don't relate, bro.
Mm. Okay, give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts. Also, um, We're saving our ratings for the end, but give us your thoughts on that and also some of your general thoughts about the book.
Like you were saying in the beginning, how it's so weird. Like the book is so weird. It's hard to describe and hard to pinpoint because it's like fantasy, but like not really. And it's
Yes.
also you really don't know what to expect. Like I went into it thinking it was something like it's about, especially in the beginning. Like she misleads you into thinking it's gonna be like a typical
Yes.
fantasy.
Deceptive as hell. I was
Bro,
like,
I felt like she lied to me. I was like, wait a minute, you just like what? Because I thought from the first chapter when she was like, nobody else noticed her but him. I was like, yeah, yeah, I know what I'm getting into. And then they
even
didn't
the
talk
fact
for the
it
whole
was
book, and I was like,
it felt like enemies to lovers. But I was also concerned because they were both rude. Like it wasn't like a nice person and like a grumpy person. They were both
yeah.
assholes, like to each other. So I was
And then
like,
they don't
this
talk
is
for the whole book.
this is the most like New York relationship. If you want to know how New Yorkers are, there's two assholes in a relationship. I was like, they sitting there looking at each other, wanting to fight. She wanted to tussle. Yeah. It was giving that. Anything you thought this book was, it's not. I prefer Levi's point of view to Roma. I think his regress. Yeah, absolutely. I was a little confused about my girl Roma. For the
Who's
people who
your?
are not DNFing, okay.
How many questions
Um,
in the book though?
yeah. How many of y'all did finish the book? What's T? What is T? Because Nina, yes, the same Nina that's here every week, every Sunday. Nina talking about I have 100 pages left.
100.
Okay, let's start there. Um, who else? It was literally enemies to enemies, precisely. Like that was
I'm
the book.
waiting for
But
Ola
it was
to tell me she had finished the book. I'm just waiting.
didn't she say she wasn't gonna be here? Yeah, because she ran away from the fact that she was supposed to be reading this book. She's not slick. I promise you she's not slick. Ya Allah.
Let's get
Ya
to
Allah. How do you skim this book when half the words aren't in English?
how do
What were
you
you skimming?
skim the end?
How? It's not even okay. It felt longer than it actually is. Like when you look at it, it's like a standard book. It did feel a little longer.
It felt way longer. It took
I
me
was
like five
like,
minutes.
but very quick, I'm gonna run through what the book is for the girlies who obviously don't understand the assignment. Okay, there's a few of y'all in here. F's for everyone. Um, so we have our two main characters, Roma and Levi, Leviathan. Roma, Levi. So Roma is essentially she's like a sex slave slash prostitute. Um, but in this society, it's a caste system. So she's not necessarily like the regular. She's not like other girls. She's not like the regular prostitutes. She's been ordained by the gods, and basically all of the other women in the temple. I was gonna say brothel.
It's
In
a
the temple. It's a brothel. All those people in the temple, all the other women in the temple are supposed to be like a personification of their god, their goddess, and then the men are supposed to act as a personification of the goddess's lover. And so every time they cometh together, if there's supposed to be, some divine intervention there. But Roma was assigned a patron, which is basically, would you say a pimp? No, she had a pimp. Not a pimp, like a
I didn't understand how that worked because how long do they have them for? Or is it just for the night? Like I was very confused.
right. But they call them patrons.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's just say he's like the number one person on her OnlyFans.
He's
Okay.
like renting
This
her
guy,
for
yes.
services.
Yeah, the brothel temple, absolutely. That is the name. Let's start there. That's exactly what this is. So different men can kind of like rent the women um to have easier access to cometh together with. So Roma had a patron before and was really traumatized by that event. She ended up like scarring her face. I say
Okay,
quotations because you see how she looks.
we'll get there.
I can't even tell the difference between the scars and the
Bro,
cultural marks on her. I can't tell the
it
difference.
was like I thought her face was Man.
If you think that she looks like what's her name from Witcher, no, that's not how she looks. But yeah, so she's traumatized from that, but she's like, I think the last person left of her age who hasn't found a patron, gone through her process of like, you know, aging out of being groomed essentially into being with the patron. And so then we have Levi, who is the son of the tyrant that runs like everything. And he's not like other boys. his his lineage is a little confusing too. We'll get to that. But he's half like, how do I explain this for y'all to understand if you didn't read the book? Let's just say his people are like Muslim, essentially. He's like half Arab, half white. Yeah. Yeah, I say that he's half Arab, half white. Very much if you read An Ember in the Ashes, like Elias, very much giving that energy. And he, he's a brute. He also very similar to, what's that book? We Hunt the Flame. He's his dad's assassin. His dad uses him to like kill people. He's been trained, da 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 da. And that's just background on the characters, because plot wise, we're all confused. We're all up in the air. But at least now you know who Levi and Roma are. Okay. And we'll start there. She wasn't anybody's slave necessarily yet, but I mean, like, yeah.
She was a slave to the goddess, but like,
yes,
she wasn't anybody's slave, because technically they're not slaves to people. They're slaves to the goddess. They just rent. They just rent it out to people.
Renting from the goddess, right? Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Please, 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 please. Yeah, it definitely gives me We Hunt the Flame plus An Ember in the Ashes. So, damn, let's really start from the beginning of the book. The setup is, Roma doesn't really like society. Everybody is really struggling for the most part. The way the caste system works, it's the white people up top. It's then I want to say the brown people, because they were giving me Desi, and if not Desi, it was giving like Persian at some time.
Yeah, it is.
And then it felt like the Arabs, who were the tribes, and they were completely like outcasted from society. They basically don't count. Like they like don't.
Essentially,
they're classless, exactly. And Roma kind of avoids any of her other responsibilities by taking on all of these like odd tasks. So she's literally spends half the book just running around the city. I don't know what she'd be doing, but she's everybody's like
got away with it too. I was like, okay.
She's like everybody's errand boy. And so I could say, for Levi's point of view, there was a bit more of a clear plot. The father is like obsessed with magic, but magic is tied to the land, to the people. So he's been able to access some of it through like dark means, but he wants more. So when we see like Levi's interaction with his father is very much just like, how am I going to get this magic? What do I have to do? He's like killing people because his generals aren't like really doing what he needs them to do. And there's also a rebellion in the works. So Levi is also very conflicted with the fact that, I'm mixed. Like, oh my gosh, I'm too this for that side, and I'm too that for that side. It's like so hard inside of me.
He's so angsty. Like, I could not handle it. I'm like, shut up.
It was very mixed, but I feel like because everything was assigned to the caste system, it kind of made a bit more sense.
Like
it was a bit easier
differentiate like what's happening. Like even in the prostitutes, like there's so many levels depending on what caste you're in, and it just helped me like the way the system works. Like the ladies with the red on their like doors compared to like it was very clear what was going on, which was really
good. He is very angsty. All of that.
Please.
So what are your initial thoughts? Like, what was your experience in the beginning of the book? When did things kind of take a turn, or you felt like you were in the groove of the book? Is there any moments particularly that you recall that caught your attention?
I think when he killed the guards that sexually assaulted Kara, and I forget her name, but the elder sister is like, yeah, we ain't taking none of that. I was like, okay, I'm kind of into this. Because she's not letting them get, like, she's not doing the whole savior thing where they're going to be grateful. She's like, yeah, you
Yes,
go, what, like, get out. And I was like, okay, I'm into this. I think that was the moment. Before that, I was
precisely.
bored. Like, especially
Ooh,
from the first chapter, she really made us think this was going to be something else. Like, I thought, oh my God,
yes.
I'm going to have to drag through this. Because she was in the courtyard. It really gave me, I don't know if you've read, what's the name? Rebel of the Sands.
Mm-mm.
But it kind of gave me that where the beginning was just she was watching him bury his like adopted mother or whatever, and I was
Yes.
oh yeah, her, and then when that little line of oh nobody else noticed her or he noticed her, I was checked out from then. I was like yeah no no thank
Yeah, we
you.
have to just like push through it. Um, what is okay, so what are the things that you liked about the book? So after that point, you're a bit more invested. Then like what kind of changed for you?
I like the writing. I think someone talked about it too. I mentioned in the Discord too. I really like that she wasn't explaining anything. Like it was just like you either get it or you
Yes.
don't move on. And I know some people were complaining about how it's hard to get into it because it's descriptive. She does go a bit overboard with descriptions that don't matter. Like some of the stuff I'm like, I want to
Yes.
move on. But
Yeah.
then other stuff like in terms of describing the world and the writing of just getting you involved, like I really felt like I was in that place as compared to
Yeah.
whenever they explain things to me or like think it translates to English. I feel like I'm being drawn into the story and put back in. But this time I was in there, even though I wasn't into the
Yeah.
I was into like the environment. So I really liked that part of the writing. And it helped through the whole time. And that was if there's one thing I would praise her for is that she hooks you in. Because if her writing wasn't good, if the atmosphere wasn't good, I wouldn't have stayed as long as I did. I would have DNF'd it. Like for me to already be bored in the first chapter or to be weary in the first chapter and still keep reading, it was strictly because I was just sucked into the
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. So many stories being told in the beginning doesn't seem to correlate. What do you mean? Go into detail about this
Yeah.
comment. For me too, I definitely liked the writing and I liked the world. Like you said, I felt very involved in it. And that's why I kept reading, even though I literally had no idea what was going on. And
Yeah.
I feel like once you get through about half the book, you no, honestly, I wouldn't say 75%, because halfway you think the explanations and stuff are over and that we're gonna get to
Bro, the rebel
no.
thing started. They started talking about rebels and other worlds. Ooh.
Yes, like I was waiting, especially because I will say the description, like the blurb on the back, is definitely misleading. Literally, the last paragraph it says, "In the struggle to protect the people they love and rebuild their identities, Roma and Leviathan's destinies interlock as the immortal tyrant hunts an ancient treasure that will doom humankind should it come into his possession. A living treasure to which Roma and Leviathan are the ultimate key."
That's not what the
Literally, last that was the last 3 pages of the last three
they didn't even
pages.
get to it though because she presumably he's dead.
Oh,
Like
oh,
we didn't even get to that part.
literally all we got to was when he went into that place and he was talking to whatever spirit, and the spirit was like Roma, and so he went and got Roma, and Roma did.
We got
So
a hint of it. Like I don't know why you put that in there. That's probably the second book. Like this had nothing to do with that.
yes, I feel like she really just wanted us to be set up with what the environment is like, what this world is like, um, and we got that. I think another reason why I give the book its credit and like the author its credit is because yes, there were a lot of things that made me feel uncomfortable, but I was very aware that it was realistic. It didn't feel just like trauma for the sake of trauma. It was something that we could tell based off of what we see now and even what some of us have experienced personally within our own cultures is something that is happening. And I feel like it was told with a certain um honesty,
It was really
but still without being exploitative. Yeah.
that was actually another plus for me because when I went to the first chapter and I knew it was dark going into it, and after reading the first chapter, I already had a bad feeling, and I was like, "Is this just gonna be dark for the sake of being dark?" Because the writing doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it's gonna be like real. But one thing I was thinking about was the first few chapters. I don't know when she told us about Roma's old patron. Like she didn't really explain it until it came to light later on. But one thing that
Yeah.
authors or just authors in general fantasy don't like to do is taint they're like female characters that are supposed to get with the male characters. And so I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
when she was explaining how Roma was able to escape like getting a patron after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, oh, does that mean she's not gonna taint her character? She's not gonna have her do what the rest of her thing. And I didn't really like that. But then the
Yeah.
end, obviously, that changed, and she also like started
Yeah.
more what happened. That made me feel better because I really thought, well, she's gonna make this dark for everybody else in the story except for the characters that she wants to keep pure, and I just didn't like
Yeah.
it. She also did the same thing for
Yeah. Everybody.
where she was like, he didn't have as much trauma, obviously, but he was also not like pure, like a good person who doesn't like to kill. Like I like that she was explaining
Right.
he enjoys the feeling of killing. Like he made him so interesting to me because he doesn't mean he.
Everybody was morally gray. Yeah.
Yeah, like I really like that. So it wasn't dark for the sake of being dark or performative dark. It was literally was like grounded. It felt so real. Like shit was happening exponentially, and I was uncomfortable, but I was uncomfortable for a good reason.
Yeah. Literally everybody was kind of gray. I don't even feel like there was anybody who you can objectively say was like a good person. And I think it's reflective to in these like situations. It's easy to say I would never do that or I would never do this. But like I think they literally say it in the book that tyrants they keep their people low on fundamental resources so they don't have the energies to fight for their actual rights because they're too busy concerned about like when am I going to eat. And so when you're put into these situations, it's not always like, oh my gosh, I want to be a moral person. It's like, yo, I literally will not have food, will not have clothing, will not have shelter. Like I can't afford to care.
Took care, yeah.
And I was like, I respect it. So I feel like with both our main characters, with the way she kind of wants you to feel is that we get to this point where Levi and Roma they meet, and I can say I respect the fact that they've literally met like twice and there was like no interaction. I was like,
I
damn,
respect it, but
not
I
the
don't
slow
like
burn, not the slow. When I tell you, it was just eye contact. I was like, wait, where's he going?
We'll
Come
talk
back.
about their fight because their fight. Oh my goodness.
Yes, we're gonna get into the fight. But you would think that like, okay, so Roma doesn't want to be sold. She's avoiding her ascension into patronhood, and Levi is avoiding whatever responsibilities for his father. And basically the way that he's trying to like make up for being half colonizer is like showing up for the tribes and trying to figure out what's going on with the rebels, which also loved the political commentary and the reflection between our life and the book because the way that she mentioned there are a lot of people that claim to be like I'm liberating people, I'm coming to free you, and just have their own agenda. And even we can think about how in the Middle East quite literally every rebel um overthrow whatever that went on they were trained by like US soldiers and then just got into positions of power and have still been neglecting the people, you know. And so the fact that we have that as the setup in the book, it's not just about like you said the savior trope on all sides was kind of flipped on its head,
Yeah.
like really challenging you to be like who are you saving, what are your intentions here, what are we really doing, and like who's going to hold you accountable and who can really stop you because like, once again these are people who don't have basic necessities,
Right.
you know.
It kind of the way the caste system worked kind of reminded me of Mistborn. I just kept thinking about how she was explaining. One thing I like
Mm,
about Mistborn is that they're really explaining what it's like to be oppressed, like to not
mm,
have anything, to not have food, and sometimes and like for a rebel to come and say to fight, I can't fight. I don't have the privilege of fighting, and her being able
right.
to explain that in a way that helps you understand, like, yeah, no, these people can't do it. They don't even have food. Like you can't blame them for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really.
for sure. Yeah, sometimes it's hard and I definitely understand people who are from similar cultural backgrounds as the people in the book to be like, this is too hard for me because I feel like we as Black people have the same thing when we're reading books that have racism in it. Like sometimes it's just like, y'all, law, please, I can't, I just can't. Can y'all go like have a cookout or something? Like I can't do this right now. So I definitely respect anybody who felt like the book was heavy because it was dark and she didn't shy away from it at all. I really appreciate that she added the unjust treatments and layers to it, which is such a good reflection of reality. Yes. Here's the thing that kind of threw me off: the pacing of the book, which kind of I guess was intentional with like making you think something was going to happen and it wasn't. So you would think that like okay, we get to this point where it's time for Roma to be sold or they're now, you know, interacting with each other a bit more. Like there's this scene where she's dancing, which I really love the descriptions of her dancing because I feel like it's once again very reflective. Like when you are in such traumatic situations, it is truly like art
Yeah.
and whatever creative outlets that you have to like really save you. So that scene where she's dancing in front of him and like his parents. First of all, the angst,
Oh,
girl.
oh my goodness.
Uh,
I
oh,
really think she was smart in not letting them interact a lot, because when they did interact, I was there. I was like, yeah, tell
it
me
was
more.
so Muslim. I'm like, why are they just staring from across the room? And then when she finished dancing, he's not even around. I'm like, where'd he go? Where is
Nah, she
he?
was teasing us because she would put them in the same like environment and then they wouldn't interact. And I'm like, bitch, let them talk, let them talk.
Nothing at all. Like that, literally the scene where he came to the tribes to be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like somebody got, sexually assaulted, whatever, da 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 da. Roma's sitting there.
The whole
No,
time.
no, no words,
The
no
whole
thoughts. He barely registered her
He
existence.
looked at
There's
her once.
nothing.
That was the end of it. Like, why did she have to be in that scene just to torture us, bro?
And I do feel like, okay, it says a lot about us that why they're literally having a serious moment. I'm like, so y'all not gonna kiss? Like,
I'm not ashamed of
like,
it. That's what I came here for. I'm sorry.
like, what are we doing? No, yeah, I definitely relate to people feeling that way. But the thing is, you would think that we get to this point, right? Okay, so they're interacting, kind of, they know of each other. Really love that scene where it was, I think, right after her dancing, and then the guy, her original patron, was there. And then something happened. She like dropped water or something. They told her to go. No, she dropped sacred wine, and they told her to go like stand
Hey, get out of
in
here.
this fountain. I was like, oh my gosh! And the way Levi was like, yeah, go get your ass up. Yeah, go stand in there. And I really, really like. Once again, it was just so real. And I think that's why you felt like you were in the book. Because even in that moment, not only was he kind of waving around his privilege of being the prince, so it's like the class privilege, but also the racial privilege because he's not involved in like, which goes along with classism. But then also the fact that you're a man, that you felt like I'm gonna walk up in here and I'm about to be like, yeah, no, like you do this, you do that, you do that. And somebody has to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to feel the repercussions of this. You sitting here being like, I'm an ally.
I think
It
it was
didn't do
it's
anything.
really interesting that she really showed how class and like religion kind of like work in our society, because they
Yes.
held their religion so like much, and when he was disrespecting their religion so openly, my thought was like, wouldn't this get back to the Pharaoh and wouldn't it cause trouble? But I started thinking he doesn't care about that shit.
No.
Like, he's looking for power. He doesn't care about religious. They're holding us to that religion because that's what they have power over. Like, they can say, "Oh, you stop
Yeah.
it." Fine. They have that religious power over what's the name of the Devi badge something, the goddess people.
Not Dave. Yeah. I think David Duffy. I feel like that's what they're
Yeah,
called.
like it's a form of power for the second class people over the
Yeah.
lower. But because the tyrant is so high above, he doesn't need to hold that religious power over them. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Child tension. not him missing cues. Not him missing cues.
Girl, did you?
But
That's how I know
literally.
you ain't read the last page of the book.
Yeah. But no, this as well, I definitely agree with this part. How not even just over the women, but like the children, and also just the different class, this different racial group, like using their religion to control them because Ferdinand saw that it was something that was important to them, not that he actually like cared about what they were doing. But even the ways that a lot of people find comfort in using religion to oppress people, to come up with religious excuses about why somebody is deserving of this and somebody isn't deserving of that. It also goes to show the importance of like really questioning what you believe in and having that sense of like whoa, what is going on here? I feel like Roma had that from jump. Knew she knew that something was off.
Yeah, she's always
And
questioning.
even that, yeah, and even the fact that she had that feeling is why I feel like they were very much trying to silence her the entire book. Like all the other David Austin was like, no, like be quiet, shut up, da da
What's
da
her
da.
mom's name or something? That lady. Oh my goodness. She was
Amma, yeah, that was
the
her.
crap out of her.
Yes, just to come up at the end was like, he was right.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. Sister, you've been like making her feel stupid, like making her feel like something's wrong with her for the whole book, only to say, yeah, no, you were right the whole time. Like the trauma.
Oh wow. Somebody, it was like two people that said a 4. I was like, wow.
4. See, I'll put my rating until later.
A 4. I was like, okay, that was very, very, very interesting. I definitely, I loved Levi's point of view. We got more from it, for sure. He literally did things. He had a mission. He was trying to do stuff. We had the like the internal pressure of like him culturally, ethnically, whatever, but then also him trying to actually help and discover his own sense of morality, but also the fact that people are dying. No, they weren't dying. They were being trafficked,
Yeah, the kids.
being kidnapped, and all of that. I was like, wow, things are going on. All he had, he had his friend group who all has very strong opinions, very strong opinions about his own.
I don't even remember his name, but I hate him so much. Like,
I mean, but he, at least he had them. You know what I mean? At least he had the friend group, and it felt real. And even I think his name was like Barrow or something. Maybe I'm bugging. I don't know his name. I think it started with a B. But even when they met the like white wolves, who are the rebel group, even they were like making fun of him. Like that was the main person they were making fun of. They were like, "Shut up! How old are you?" When they revealed that, when they started making fun of him for his age, I was like, "This makes a lot of sense." They're like, "You're like 12." I was like, "Okay." I just ignored everything he said. Literally, like, okay, whatever. I was kind of in the beginning. This point, we got, yeah, literally was definitely fleshed out.
Now
There was a lot going on.
The first time we were introduced to him, it was all angst, all moody, all edgy, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just started getting better. And Roma's POVs were so repetitive because she's so confined to this whole situation. It's always just, oh, I'm being and we can't get out. Like it's the same thing, and it's important to understand that point of view. But it was the same thing over and over again. Every time, yeah, you were oppressed. I get it. Can we go back?
No, literally, and I kind of wish that we saw more of her planning to like escape or leave before her ascension or something, rather than, especially because she's just had so many strong feelings about being there, so many strong feelings about like not believing in this, not wanting to be involved. I'm like, but you're still there.
Because one thing I found interesting was that the other girl, her sister ran away with the white dude. Her sister ran away with the white dude. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, it was just me. My AirPods died.
Her sister, like, I forget her. It's been a while since I read this book. It was like early February. But her sister ran away with the white dude, and I just kept thinking that her sister didn't even feel that strongly. Like she knew. Like I feel like low key they all know. They just, some of them just, to deal with their trauma and to not go crazy, they just accept it. But her sister, presumably she felt the most strongly about this. But I think there was something always holding her back, and not knowing for sure that maybe like, especially because the mother kept gaslighting her adopted mother. But I just thought it was interesting that the other person ran away, but she didn't. Like, and I thought, what's holding you back? Why aren't you planning to run away? You feel so strongly about it.
And I guess it was the little boy. And I know that
with her.
I literally about to say that, and I know that she kept saying like I gotta say
she's giving herself excuses to not do it is the thing, and I thought that was really interesting when the author decided to let the other girl run away because she could have not done that, but I just thought she wanted to show that Roma could leave. Yeah, she could run away. She has people that could help her with the cast people, like, and they wouldn't. She's not that precious that they would miss her that much or like tear the whole town down to find her. She could have.
Was it her that they brought back, or no? It was somebody else that got brought back, and his wife, like,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was like, was it? Because it was literally two people that were gone, but one ran away and the other just had like a patron.
Yeah, but I just thought
the only banter that took me off the story was between him and his stepmother. I was like, oh my god.
Him and his friends, the little tiny one. I forget. I need to find his name. That little. Like I'm just like, bro, shut up. Even Levi sometimes is like, bro, you need to tone it down a little bit. Like,
literally. The girl who ran away with her lover, I don't think we heard from you. Yeah. We just heard from the girl originally who they said had gotten a patron before the book started, and they hadn't heard back from her. Yeah, I was just like very. Yeah. Why do you know everybody's name?
Yeah. Even seeing his name, I have flashbacks.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. It definitely gives a Bollywood drama. It's specifically because I can envision her just like walking outside, like in the market, just like holding her basket of fruit. Like I'm so. Oh. So it's like, girl, and especially because, like I said, she was like an errand girl. So she literally was here, there, and everywhere. She was going to the tribe. She was going here. Even specifically, they were like, yeah, she has something to do in an hour, and she was gone. There was like 3 instances. They were like, yeah, Amma was looking for you. She didn't get
literally, the beginning of the book was her going to a funeral for no reason. Like, she could have just left.
Hiding in a tree playing with snakes. I'm sorry.
And the funny thing is that they tell us, she tried to explain how big the world is. So she literally could leave, and she doesn't have to be there. Like, I did the whole time. I was like, "Girl, just go."
Not I skimmed it. Please cut it out. The little skimmings. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, R.I.P. Whatever his name is, started with a C. Shout out to him.
No,
the way he died was so funny because wait, let's talk about that whole chapter where am I skipping it? The whole chapter where we were in Levi's chapter with the rebels for like so long, and we come back and it's just chaos. Like,
literally, it was just.
I was like, "What the fuck has happened since we've been gone?" Like,
it was crazy. Even when he was like dead, when he was like dying, I didn't even realize. That's another thing. Like, even though things were very graphic, it wasn't even really like she didn't really like put it on the page.
Yeah, it wasn't graphic. It was just the script. Like, she was just like, "Yeah, no, this happened." Like, she did it so nonchalantly. Like, you don't feel a visual reaction to it. You just like, "Yeah, that shit happened. That sucks."
Yeah, and I was just like, "Dang." But yeah, it was definitely a lot going on, and I do feel like if she would have did the pacing better, for example, having moments where she was getting in touch with her powers, or weird things were happening. Like, okay, girl, her kind of sort of being cool with snakes. We've seen Harry Potter, like that's not, what I mean? Like, it's not really giving to the girls, especially because it never came up again.
Until the end.
You see, you should have read the damn book. You should have read the damn book.
Are you surprised we're spoiling it? Yeah, no, he died.
He died because after, I'm trying to think what led to the events of him dying.
I think Amma decided that she was gonna give him out, and then she broke him out and they like kidnapped him, and then she broke him out from prison. They were about to run away, and then they captured. Because I remember her going to the prison, and they had castrated him by that point.
No, but wait, was Amma trying to sell him or something? Because remember when she got there, he was like
to the gods for the other people.
Yeah.
All I remember is she was in prison, she broke him out of prison, and then shit went.
This is exactly how I feel. It was so much going on by the time I couldn't even have an emotional reaction. I was just literally.
Just like, by the way.
She's like, not, yeah, by the way, just in case he's not here. It was just like, if it was her, I would have been like, okay. But the fact that it was him, I was like, why? And I think they were trying to say that it was retaliation from how she treated or what Levi did to her old patron, and like this was how they were like, I guess, repaying that debt or whatever. But it really felt very random for that to be happening, and I was just like, damn.
It's just the way, I don't know why she paced it like that. And the fact that we were in Levi's chapter, as much as I enjoyed his chapters, when the chapters of him after they revealed his heritage, the other chapters were just like casual stuff. So you could have just gone back and explained to us what the fuck was happening.
I didn't even understand.
They were out there eating dinner and stuff, and then she cuts back. She's like, "Yeah, no, Chirag's dead. She's escaped. She's been raped like 200 times. I'm like,
I didn't even understand that, because they're just like, he's basically like, Luke, I am your father, and I'm just like, of what? What is, like, the fact that she really had to go through all this detail to like explain his heritage? Like, why wasn't it just like,
go get it?
I guess what I took from it was the last noble king, I guess, who before the war and the caste system originally created. I guess Levi's a descendant of him, but then she tried to put in the whole Cain and Abel story and really throw me the hell up. I was like, okay. So
Levi descended to one of the brothers, the good brothers.
Yes. Yeah. And then I'm just like, but then she's gonna use their Arabic names. So I'm like, who's Habil and who's Habil? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, at this point, do I need the Quran to read it too?
I was lost the whole time.
I was like, okay.
I was like, yep, okay.
I'm like, okay, so he's related to Adam. Great. Can we move on? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, all I need to know was that he had heritage to some old guy, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I guess because of that, I did also think it was so interesting that they said that the magic was tied to had like a morality to it, because it's something that at least I feel all the time when I think about all these new, everybody's like very like spiritual, like divine feminine energy, manifestation, all of that. And literally so funny because today I literally saw a white girl talking about that on TikTok. And I really feel in my spirit that if Allah was going to bless anybody with a little extra something, it's not,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't, it wouldn't be you. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be y'all.
I think that's why it's interesting why she made Levi mixed. I don't know how that's gonna come into play later, but why did he need to be mixed? Only so that he has a connection to the other people? Because he could have been fully like white, and that would I don't think that would have made much of a difference to the story. But maybe she just wanted him to have a connection to why he would go back to the camps and stuff. I don't know. That was just.
It would have been very interesting if she made him. I feel like if this was a black author would have just made him white passing. He would have been fully a Negro, but passes as white for the sake of the fact that because he is the king's only heir, he would just have to like assimilate, and that would have been a bit more interesting as well. I don't know if in societies that have heavy class systems or like historically had heavy class systems that people were able to pass in that type of way, but we know that like in America we have whiteness and white supremacy, and so there were definitely black people that passed as white, and
that's like a whole movie about that as well.
Yeah, it's like 35.
Right.
Insert random biracial girl here, but yeah. Oh yes, that's what she was sending him, and in the back of the book, the author mentioned that she was trying to speak about, with him specifically, was trying to speak about the way that like queer and trans people are treated. And it could have been more. It could have been more if we were going to do that. Like I could tell that I was like, okay, little boy, material world. Right. But then when she mentioned like trans, I was like, huh.
Character is tricky for me because I don't see, I guess I get his purpose, but I don't see why she would need, because she could have used any of the other sisters for that,
yeah. And then
she didn't need him as a character,
and we didn't. I don't know if I think somebody said something. I think maybe she said to Amma like, why did you keep him around for so long? Like just to sell him out when you wanted to. Like I didn't understand what was going on. And even that could have been a moment. We didn't see Amma have any mothering moments. She was, I feel like, maybe the most one-dimensional villain in the story, considering that everybody was kind of a little gray. We didn't even see those moments of her being like a little sad about what was going on.
Why Roma was so attached to her. I didn't get why she was so shocked when she said, "Yeah, I knew it was a lie." I'm like, but you knew this whole time. You didn't believe her.
Literally, what was that other girl who she went to and was like, "Did you know?" We were like, "Yeah." I'm surprised you figured it out first.
Yeah, like I feel like they all knew, like
dummy.
And it's funny because I didn't notice that maternal feeling towards Emma that the other sisters had. She was the only one calling her, like acting like she was a mom. The other one saw her like an aunt or like a respectable figure. But the author was trying to make us think because Roma was adopted as younger, she thinks of her as a mom. But like nobody else thought of her as a mom. She's literally their pimp. Like
I missed something. Please. Okay, yeah. I told you his heritage was weird. Okay, so basically,
this took a while to get.
It was, first of all, it was so interesting because the fact that his birth mom's name was Barjira was so interesting because that's my aunt's name. It's not a Muslim name that I hear often. But I was like, oh, okay, Islamic shorty, something going on here. Okay, but essentially, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there was Badria, she's Muslim, she's from the tribes, and I don't remember how her and Gabrielle knew each other. I think she was like, they were close. Gabrielle wasn't from a high caste. I know that.
She was adopted by Gabrielle's father, so they grew up together.
Yeah, so they were kind of close to each other, whatever. And then when Gabrielle caught the eye of Firaun, Badria came on as basically her housemate.
Yeah.
To stay close to her. But the king, because he was nasty, actually got Badria pregnant. And then when I think Badria died during childbirth, so Gabrielle raised her, and
What I
still
understand is was Gabrielle not able to have kids?
maybe I guess that was the case. I also thought it was confusing because he kept talking about his mother dying, and I guess I know he didn't. That's what really confused me because he didn't know.
He didn't. Yeah, he never said, like, he kept calling her a mother and never talked about Rodriguez until they explained
at
it.
all, like at all. I
I
was
guess
just like,
it makes sense because he didn't see her as his mother, but I was just like, you're not even gonna say, oh no, by the way, I got two moms. Like,
she was her maid, but like I said, they were friends.
Married, yeah.
They were friends first, and then she went and I'm with her. Her mother was a servant of Gabrielle. His mother died during trouble. Yeah. Are you? Guess what? Was this about the little boy thing?
If it's about the little boy, it wasn't easy to miss at all. She let you know. Homeboy was out here wearing like dresses and stuff. She wasn't subtle.
He was about to give you a performance. I feel like I missed it because it wasn't like, okay, for example, we didn't go there to interact with any of the queer people that were in this separate house. You know, or we didn't even see them off. Even there was the scene where there was a regular prostitute that Roma went to her house because she was experiencing. I think she gave her like something, and even that, but switch it with one of the trans women who were being called as like prostitutes or whatever would have made you be like, ah, okay. But like they were kind of just mentioned like this is where the little material worlds go, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, I guess, but you know, sometimes it's not all about representation. Sometimes it's just visibility, and I guess it's just a mention that like these are things that happen. Yeah. Well, he was having sex with both of them.
I don't know about light, but
right. Okay. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing. When we start talking about how this is a mix of, you know, An Ember in the Ashes, We Hunt the Flame, also City of Brass, a mix of all of these books. The thing that kind of had me confused is because this book is the one that had the least like plot. All of those books, as annoying as they were, not An Ember in the Ashes, We Hunt the Flame, and City of Brass.
I didn't want to say my opinion on the An Ember in the Ashes because I feel like you just kicked me out this live right now.
I absolutely would. I'm glad you already know. So even though like those books were, I don't necessarily like traveling books because I'm like, can you just get there? Like that was my issue with those first two books. At least we knew they were going somewhere. Things were happening along the way. It really just threw me off that they're saying that Firaun wants this thing and it doesn't come up until the end of the book. I was like, what thing? And then just for the thing to be inside of Roma. And I'm like, this is literally the last like 5 chapters of the book. He didn't even say to Levi, because that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to call Levi to his office, that scene, and be like, you're responsible for finding me this.
Yeah.
And they were about to, I thought they were about to go and somehow Roma got involved and they were going to this thing together just to realize it was always inside of her. I was like, okay. It didn't happen. Like it was, I was like, what mystical, magical thing are they trying to bring up? Like, it was just, that's the only thing that threw me off. And if she put it in there and they had some type of like magical journey together, then that would have give you the fantasy that you needed. Or even, like I said earlier, her realizing some of her powers were awakening. We didn't get any of that. I'm just like,
it would have been really interesting if she had put that in like the dancing or something with the snakes. Like we got, she communicates with snakes, or she has a connection with snakes in the beginning, and then
right.
But like never when snakes were like coordinating with her or something, like would have gotten hints throughout. That would have been better than.
Even don't they have people? What do they call snake charmers? Like they literally have the little flute, and then you could have been dancing.
Like incorporated so well with her dancing. Because she moves in that kind of manner, but like
yes,
didn't take that much. It was so weird.
That's the only thing that bothered me, and that's why I think it's a bit bold for her to want to put this as adult.
It's not. I'm so mad at that. It's not adult.
Please cut it out. Please cut it out. Please cut that. Yeah, she didn't describe that. And if it's this ancient power going on, and she's like, you know, there's so much oppression going on, you would think that even in those moments of rage or sadness or whatever we would get it was just at the end when she was really, really pissed off. And I'm like, we don't have any signs that the magic is leaking out. It was just like non-existent, and then boom. I'm like,
I have a problem with stories of chosen ones. They don't really work for me, and so it kind of took away from the story a little bit for me when they talked about like Levi being an ancestor and then Roma having powers. I'm like, of course they both have like something special chosen about them. What I liked about Roma in the beginning was like she was just one of the people. There's nothing special about her. She was just one of them. The only thing is that she just didn't believe it, and that's what made it different. Her having those powers. Even if she had those powers, I would have enjoyed it if she didn't have those powers because she's the only one that had those powers and she's special. If everyone had those powers and she's just able to tap into it more, that would also be different. I don't know. I just don't as a reader, I don't like the chosen one thing, and I just kind of.
Why somebody can't be special?
No, I don't.
Yo, yeah. Oh my gosh, she said no, absolutely not. And even the fact that I feel like when you think about Levi, his little power thingy, I liked how casual it was because for him, it didn't come up later on in the book. For her to be like the thing, and it was only mentioned once, I was like, you're losing me. The fact that we saw more of him interacting with them damn jinns than her do any type of magical anything. And I guess she was trying to say like it was like a shock, like, oh my gosh, like she has magic. Like, but you said the book is fantasy. Some shit got to be fantastical. Like somebody got to have a little something. If it's not that the trees and the grass is talking itself, like where's the fantasy gonna come from?
I think
that's the thing that threw me off.
Tell that when she say fire, I just think she means passion. Like when she said she got fire inside of her, I'm like, oh yeah, no, she's fighting the system. I wasn't. I was like, not a freedom fighter. I forgot she had power. That's how bad it was.
And we didn't see her with a snake again. We didn't see her with a snake until she was in the freaking desert. The snakes wasn't even around. It's not even like she had a pet snake. Why is there a snake on the cover of the book? Why is there a snake on the cover of the book? She would honestly, she would get more people buy it. Put them on it. This is it. Because
even the heart didn't get it. Like,
why is the snake?
The cover is very misleading.
Yeah, why is the snake wrapped around a heart? You could have did their faces wrapped around this freaking heart in gold. Boom, that's the book.
You know what made me annoyed is when she got captured when she was trying to defend the first time she used her powers. Actually, them snakes came out of nowhere. I didn't want to say nothing, but I was like, where did they come from? They haven't been here the whole time. So,
like, do they come from out of her? And if a lot of questions.
It's a snake. The only other thing about the snakes was that they kept. I don't even know if it's about snakes or if it's just about her heritage, but they kept talking about her eyes, and I just didn't get it. I'm like, does that have to do with her powers? Like, why is everyone talking
this? About yes, this is where now my influencer is coming in. The branding is not giving. No. The marketing for the book is not giving. If you're honestly, I'm about to send this to, I forgot who the publishers are because they literally sent me this book to review. And I want to follow up and send them an email because actually I just looked on this thing. The book came out a year ago. And since she made this new adjustment, I have some thoughts about the marketing. I know it's hard for publishing houses to acknowledge that they made a mistake, but look at Beast of Prey, I think is what it's called. New covers, gorgeous. Gorgeous. The other cover is very similar to this. It had like animals on the cover.
Do they think animals do better? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know. Actually, I want to show y'all the pictures because it's such a difference. And I feel like if she's going to make this adjustment to adult, the marketing has to be a lot better.
No, she needs to change the blurb. She needs to change the name. Like, she needs to change a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know who edited this. But it's not giving. I just realized the author was talking about her magic. Literally.
No, I'm dumb too because I thought it was passion. I know.
Okay, so for Beast of Prey, this is the old cover. Very similar. A damn snake, right? This is a tropical snake. She's a snake in the Caribbean. You know what I mean? Look at them next to each other. The only thing I feel like
different.
The only thing I feel like they missed to tie it back into the old book is to have more blue, but
that's two different books.
But I'm like, which one do you think people are gonna buy? Some safari grass and a snake? Like,
yeah, they need better publishing for this. Yeah, no, the second cover is way better.
it has to be possible to change the name. There's another author who's come. I saw on Twitter. I don't be on book Twitter, but there's an author who's.
Oh, they could definitely change the name. I remember when I read this book, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. It used to be called The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, but because Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo came out, he changed the name to 7.5. Like, you could definitely change the name after.
Yeah, the descent of the drowned. Who was drowning? Or I get, okay, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put like my poetry hat on. Because to say that somebody is drowning already implies that they're descending. So I guess them saying that they're drowning is like they're already suffering in society, and this is how low they're getting.
I mean, the camps, the tribes, descent of the drowned, but are they descending?
If there's a rebellion happening,
they're not doing anything. They're just suffering out here. Like,
but even the fact that there is a rebellion, I'm like how far in how are you sinking? If niggas, they literally built a paradise thingy situation in the trees.
I don't. If anyone's ascending, it's the cast people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who is this. Maybe it's Roma. Roma's drowning.
She's not drowned. I don't know. I can't remember her.
I just have thoughts.
Don't know who's drowned as Roma.
I don't know if it's appropriate for me to email them and just be like, hey,
I really need to. I need to speak to her and she needs to explain to me her vision of changing this to adult, because it's not adult.
Yeah.
I know she thinks maybe because it's dark or she wants to get another audience it's adult, but it's really not. And if she makes this adult, it's going to reduce the ratings, because you can't forgive some of the stuff that's in here.
Especially when you think about adult fantasy. Okay?
Yeah, about fantasy. Like, no, sis.
Like, you're talking about Brandon Sanderson, you're talking about M.K. Jemisin, you're talking about
Jade City. I finished Jade City recently. After reading that, and I keep thinking she wants to take this to, like, Jade City is adult fantasy.
It is a perfect depiction of urban fantasy. It is urban as hell and fantastical. Who the hell is that?
Like, her main characters were 17 years old. That's not adult fantasy. Like, Homeboy and JD is like 38 years old. Like, that's adult fantasy. She
could have did NA and thrived in NA. If she put, okay, listen, this is it. This could be NA. If she put Levi Fine Arts on the cover, right? Also, you got to put Roma too, for the bi girls, for the queer girls. You got to give it to the girls, right? You got to see them together. If you're attracted to both of them, you'll probably love the book. Put them on the cover. Okay, we got to fix the title, like the alliteration. I don't know. Then also, in addition to the gruesome atrocities going on, you have to have more tension. Not just tension; it has to be sexual. They need to be trapped in a small place. They need to brush up against each other. They need to have a scene where he's forced to dance with her. I don't know, but you're gonna have to give it to the girls. You're gonna have to bring it to the girls, and that's how you get NA. Even with him buying her, and they never had a moment together. Like even that moment in the book in the room, I'm like, he should have made her sleep in the bed and should have put them together. Do I have to jump in the book and write it?
She put them in the room together and then didn't use it at all. Like, didn't take advantage of that at all.
How did her? Okay, no, let's talk about the scene. How the hell her bangles made her wrist bleed open? What the? Then them bangles. And they sitting there tussling, and she bleed. Yo, what? When I'm like, what do we do? It's real. The art is stunning. I'm like, what are we doing? You have to.
She has to make her more scarred. I'm sorry.
You gotta make Levi. You gotta make Levi horny. That's what you have to do. Because he acknowledged that she was beautiful, and Roma acknowledged that she was attracted to him. But general attraction and being sexually attracted are not the same thing. If Roma, he pushed her on the wall and what? And then what did he do? He right there.
He sold her.
He sold her to slavery. Okay, he sold her. Yeah.
I love how I'm editing the book and you're doing the marketing. Like, we just took over this book.
Call me beat man if you want to read. Come on, I'm about to send
Girl, that's the question. Why
At
make
this
it so
point,
fancy? What is the reason?
At this point, I'm gonna send them the link. I'm gonna send them the link to the live show. I'm going to send it to that. There were a lot of points made. Was ever supposed to be romantic undertones? Okay, this is valid.
She said nobody else noticed me but him. I'm sorry.
This is valid. However, you can't tell me, okay, that me personally, I do not want to read any book about men and women being platonically friends. Not one. Not one. They can become friends, like men and women can become friends in a book. Like, for example, if she became friendly with that nigga Juno, okay, I have no interest in reading about, especially because what y'all need to be together then. Might as well say that they brother and sister, pull a Cassandra Clare, because I don't care. I don't. It's like I just what. And is that assumption for me is because that's I like romance. Now, is there an overall general assumption just because of the way that we are in a heteronormative society? Yes, valid. I'll give you that. But as I'm letting you know, okay, that's what I want to read romance. That's what we're here for.
I think she did set it up, like looking at the way it's set up, and even the scene with them dancing and him buying her, like there's like she's doing that shit on purpose. She just doesn't want to give us what we want.
There's tension, and just think. Okay, listen. Okay, now I'm freezing. Just think about the power that Roma would like feel, because I feel like when people have been, essayed, it's very sex in general is just very hard and weird for them. And they're always looking to like regain that power, that agency over themselves. And I'm just saying, what is a bigger I'm that nigga than I literally seduced the prince?
I think that's interesting though, in the sense that she doesn't even want to touch people. Like that's gonna be a big journey for her to view it as a positive thing. Because even when she caught his eye and he bought her, she kept also thinking, I didn't want to catch his eye. What are you gonna do to me? Like she has this negative connotation with someone noticing her, and I'm interested.
But that would have been better. That scene would have been better and more heartbreaking, if they had some type of flirtationship thingy that she thought he was not like other boys and was going to actually be like respect her as a person, and then he bought her. That would have been like, oh, and then it would make sense why she did that to my nigga at the end of the book. Okay, yeah. That made you. We missed something. What were you so betrayed by him for? Because he was not. He wasn't even really nice to you. He told some stupid other fat rich guy to go stand in a pond.
Yeah, I think that scene in the room, she never once thought, oh, he might not do anything.
Never. She was always on alert.
She was about to escape, like she was trying to leave. Like not once did she trust him. So like the whole scene was just like, yeah, we all kind of know how this is gonna play out. Anyway.
And it was just, I don't know, it kind of threw me because I think it would have been valid also it's valid for her to not want any type of physical interactions, but it also would have been valid to see her try to navigate somebody who's showing her something different and opening up to him. But I feel like that's what's going to happen in the second book, because we already can tell big homie Levi, yeah, he's turning into a simp. Yeah, I see it. I already see it. I already see it. The way that he went, he's sitting there holding her, she crying, and yeah, he's already gonna.
That was so random. I was like, okay, physical touch. We escalated the situation here.
My miss.
Okay.
So why you don't like the new covers? Oh, you almost didn't buy it until you spoke. I was like, damn. I'm just like,
that dude's funny, bro.
But I think hopefully this happens in the next book. Her rediscovering what pleasure is, being able to experience pleasure at with her own autonomy, with somebody that she feels like is like worthy of that. Because I do feel like, yes, even though crazy things happen to children, because if we're going to make them teenagers, they go through terrible things. But if you're going to make it adults fornicate. Okay? They are fornicating.
This is a Muslim author.
They are just. Listen. I don't care, because you know what the Muslim girls are talking about on Smut Talk? I don't care. I I do not care. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You didn't even give us Fade to Black. Didn't even, the fact that we got through the whole book and all we had was her crying on his shoulder. They didn't even hold hand, not a kiss on her cheek.
The entire last that entire last chapter was just like a fever dream for me. I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like,
it was literally. I'm like, what is?
Yeah, because she's detached. Like she's not in. Like she really doesn't like being touched.
And I just feel
she's overreacting. I think she's just paranoid. Like as someone who's always paranoid a lot, she's like any little thing she's overanalyzing how it could hurt her because that's the only experience she has is someone's gonna hurt me. So she's just always on high alert. But I think he'd shown a little bit of compassion, not much, but like she's seen that compared to the other men in her life.
Enough for her to acknowledge a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, like she should have like when she was in the room, she should acknowledge the little bit of difference in like even the way he interacted with his friends. Like there was something different, and she just didn't acknowledge it at all. She was like, yeah.
But I feel like these things would have been like her dealing with having some type of like feelings or sexual desires for him. Her, whatever would have added more to her point of view because we didn't have much. We just had her being oppressed, and also it would have added to her character development, her overcoming something happening, or even her like literally. It didn't get into the end of the book where literally she came back after stealing the little boy and was like, okay, I'm gonna plan my escape. That was the end of the book. We didn't see her like nothing. It was just like for a while it was just Roma was suffering, and I was just like, okay, it's even circa 2012 emo girl on Tumblr. I understand. Get back to Levi, please, because nothing is really nothing was happening. So if we added these things, I would have been like, okay, this is giving atmosphere. No, not at all.
No, atmosphere. It was just pacing. I think pacing is the problem. Like all the stuff she had in the last like 15% are really solid stuff, and she just fleshed it out a little bit earlier. Like she just put good stuff at the end, and like it just made it feel so weird.
Yeah, if we would have had a moment with Roma and Levi on their like we had that scene of them like in the room, and then he literally saw her the next morning, and then we didn't hear from either of them or either of them together for a really long time. And then it's like that scene at the end. It's like it wasn't enough. Like you said, if she kind of intermingled it, if she gave us a little something, another thing I noticed that they always do in these books, especially when you have like enemies. This is enemies to enemies. But if you had any, like any type of tension, there's always some type of stupid nickname that the guy like or the girl will call each other just to get pissed them off. We didn't even have that. We didn't have like a little moment or like anything.
He said her name, bro. He kept calling her the W, whatever the name was. He barely said her name.
That's the only thing that I'm just like. I've read adult fantasy books. Like when I think about the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. That's her name. Yeah. I didn't read the trilogy. I read the first book. I didn't read the rest of the books. I was traumatized. I never finished it. I have it. I do plan on finishing it. I was just like, okay. But in that book, it's so much fantasy. You don't expect any romance. There's so much world building. There's so much shit going on. We didn't have any time for that. And here's the opposite spectrum with From Blood and Ash. We have mad romance. To be honest, we have so much romance. She knows that's what we're here for. I don't even care about the fantasy. I get tired every time she bring up the wolf, whatever, witch, vampire. I don't care. Are they in the bedroom? I don't care about none of that. So if you want to lean either side, you have to give. And I think that's the only thing. She didn't give us a lot of fantasy and we had no romance. So it definitely makes you feel a little up in the air. And I don't feel like she would stand on her own as an adult fantasy book. There's not enough of either to give anybody adult vibes. Adult, when people think of adult, even when you think about like something being rated R, it's about it being graphic and then it's about it being sexual. We didn't have either.
And it just doesn't feel adult. Again, maybe because the character, I don't want to say.
And the writing as well, yeah.
I don't want to say the characters because the characters are young, because Brandon Sanderson writes about young characters, but it still feels higher than YA. It's just the way she writes her characters. Like Levi is too moody and broody to be adult. Moody and broody is Hilo from Jade City, but he still feels adult. Like if that makes sense.
It's so funny because Hilo literally feels like a big baby, but still big.
He is a child.
He gives you man child, but you still get man. Levi is giving me little boy.
Boy, especially when he was fighting with his stepmom, I was like, Jesus. Like, that whole conversation was terrible.
Yo, Hilo would have either stabbed her or laughed and walked away. You know what I mean? Until he was ready to kill her.
I wrote this down when I was reading the book. It's like, I don't think they should have spoken. I think the tension would have been so much higher if they just didn't exchange words ever since he was younger. Like, he came back, and if she finds out things about him through her, like, slaves, and he finds out things through his best friend, and they just don't talk. But they have this, they know each other, they know each other's spies. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, they know about each other's battle, but they speak with their eyes. Like, it would have given us so much tension then.
And like, they play nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like, they smile at each other.
Yeah. 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 And even that, this is a childish thing to see somebody, to an extent, to see somebody treating you bad. Your gut, you know this shit is fake. You don't want to be there, and you still stay. You can only explain that off with her being 17.
17, yeah.
25-year-old is not going to do that. And even, what do you think they're going to age them up to? Like, I can't see Levi and Roma being anything older than 20.
I don't even think 20. Like, they're literally 17, 18 years old.
To be
not adult. Even I'm thinking about a 17-year-old or someone that was young in adult fantasy. Mistborn, which low-key I think of Mistborn as YA, but it's less YA than this one. But she's young. I forget her name. But she doesn't feel as young as Levi and Roman do, but she's the same age as them. Like, it's not even just the character's age, it's just the writing does not feel adult.
Yeah. And even when you think about women who have experienced large amounts of trauma tend to be very mature. Roma was vibes. She was not.
She's giving child, like.
She gives emotionally stunted. She doesn't give emotionally mature. Okay. Like, she's still stuck in that place of when she was sexually assaulted. That's what it gives me.
Her being so attached to Amma, like this, I forget who it was. Someone was saying her being so attached to Amma, even though she knows this woman doesn't mean me any good, is childlike.
Precisely. If she had a relationship with Amma the way that Levi has with his dad, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Levi doesn't look to his dad for any type of nurture or even honesty.
But he's still attached to his dad, but not in the way that Amma's attached to this lady. Like, right. I remember that there was a scene where he was going to the elder mother in the camp, and she was saying, it's okay to be attached to him. Like, oh, not him. During the camp, when he was asking, can you kill the pharaoh? And he couldn't answer. The guy was like, it's okay to be attached. He's your creator. It's okay to fear and love him at the same time. But his attachment isn't the same childlike attachment that Roma has to this person. That he's attached, but not in a child sense. Like, precisely. She does not give me anything. Let's not talk about Junho. I'm sorry.
Was he banished at 6?
Yeah, he was really young when he went. He was like there for like 15 years.
I don't know, but even I can definitely see Levi can be 2021.
He seems older than her, yeah, for sure.
He could be 2021, but Roma can't be more than 18.
He can't be 18.
No, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. Damn, Joey, I don't remember this. So with the ending of the book, I was very traumatized. I think I literally texted Ola. I was like, no.
The addiction came out of nowhere.
First of all, she literally, that time loop was really weird for me because there was so much going on in the book. How do we have all of these things transgressing against her? Like, are there no other prisoners here? All of this stuff happening to her within the span of how long? Like, that she's literally now in addict.
We don't know how long she was in there.
And she come out and she like Rue. I'm like, what am I reading? What the?
No, I'm telling you, it's like a fever dream. Stuff would just happen. I'm like, okay. I'm trying to catch up. Like, okay.
She talking about bugs but stopping her wounds from close. What? What the fuck?
And I couldn't tell if she was using her powers in there. Why wasn't she using her powers in the cell?
Even to have it brewing then, it was nothing. It was completely.
There was no fire. There was no nothing.
Nothing at all. No, it was just so very.
Because she set up a precedent that when she feels threatened, her powers come out. When she was about to be captured, she's feeling threatened in there, but her powers are not coming out. Okay.
Nothing at all. And even I think about the fact that like Levi went through a lot more character growth than she did. Even him realizing how terrible it was for him to sell her. And it's like Roma, we started from the beginning, Roma was here, and the only difference at the end is now she knows the truth. Yeah, she has more trauma. I can't even say she knows the truth because she always knew, really, deep down.
She always did.
The only difference is that she's strong. There was no.
The only thing is she has more trauma. She's addicted. Like she has an addiction now. That's it. Like that's her character growth. Like Levi.
Oh, yeah. They were giving her. They were giving her drugs. And
also trying to pack a lot of shit into those last few chapters.
Even when they said one of the trigger warnings was drug addiction, I was like, oh, are we gonna see drug addiction? Because we all know that with poverty, there's a large amounts of drug addiction.
Yeah.
No, it was just these last 3 pages, and Roma was snorting that stuff when she was in prison. And then even the fit out going to get her. How did he know anything about her other than seeing her dance that one day? I don't understand.
I also want to know, does he know Levi's connection to her? Because that part still was messy enough for me. Because, like,
he was moving her into the house and he was drugging her up too. I just don't understand. How did we get
she escape? Is another question. Because I know he had that shit guarded. You're telling me Levi broke her out? I'm sorry. I don't believe that shit. I'm sorry. There was like 2 guards and that was it. If she was really the source to his power, he would keep that shit heavily guarded. I'm sorry.
Why he didn't have that weird gin nigga
protect her, guarding her?
Come on. Yo, I'm really tired.
I'm rating on the book, but I like the book.
No, literally, we'll give y'all our ratings in a second. Literally, I don't hate it. It's just she had the plan. She just needed the platform. Actually, she got the platform. She just need a plan. I need her to get it together so we can really,
I think one of the reasons I'm forgiving a lot is because it's also her first book.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, for your first book, you did a pretty good job.
Yeah. I just yeah.
Like, why?
It was entirely too much going on at the end, and I was really upset with how she did. Homeboy Levi, he did not deserve that. Okay, and she's an idiot because she is literally, she's scared. I should say that she's a punk. She never even had the nerves to go out on her own. But you're gonna sit here and do that to him, and you think you're about to go where?
You know how Tahira texted me right after she was like,
It's true.
She was pissed.
I was lit. I was like, oh my God, look at Levi. He's being soft. Oh my God, look at him. He's like taking care of somebody else. After he literally almost died, he's sitting there crippled.
Get your sister, bro.
He's literally sitting there crippled. His arm messed up, leg messed up, limping, holding her. He had to kill his horse.
He killed his horse for her.
He killed his horse. And I have to read it to you. Hold on. Because, hold on. No. Because, y'all have to read this. Okay. Hold on. I lost it, but I'm going to get it back. Because y'all have to hear this.
Last page or something.
It really pissed me.
She really left him there to die.
So the scene is they've been walking after they escaped from the castle, whatever the hell they were at. They're in this forbidden, this weird ass forest that like the jinns be in or whatever. And so she's like sick of him because she don't want to talk to anybody. Last time she saw him, he sold her. She don't care what he got to say. So she's like, I'm going to wash up. So she goes to wash up or whatever, and she tries to kill herself. I think the same spirit that told Levi that she was special was like, yeah, you're not dying. So Levi comes and saves her. And literally, okay, so she's crying. Literally says she wept until she was emptied. He says to her, I know what it's like to be invaded, Roma. I know what it's like to have somebody leave their imprints on you, to lose who you are and hate what you've become. But everything doesn't have to be a reminder of what you've lost. Some things can be a powerful symbol of what you've survived. We have to find a way to reclaim ourselves. I highlighted that quote because I was like, period. The fact that Levi told her this, I was like, wow.
And the funny thing is, at the start of the book, he wouldn't have said that.
No.
That's the growth that he had.
Period. So then literally, okay. she's crying or whatever. I guess like he's holding her like this, her head on his shoulder. And so it says he pulled back from her. She looked up at him, raising a hand toward her face. He almost touched her cheek. He released her at last, his back to her. We need to go, he told her in a hoarse voice. While he drew a breath, she reached for his forgotten sword. Saheb, she said in a whisper soft voice, rising behind him. When he turned toward her, she slammed the hilt into his injury with such force that he pitched forward in shock pain. She bashed it in his head next. Dropping on his knees, he coughed and lurched. It required a third strike before he collapsed. She said 3 is sunnah, okay? Read my eyes this time, Saheb, she whispered to his unconscious form. Blood leaked from a gash on his head. You're right. There's power in survival, and now she would wield her own.
Why did she do that? After that happened, the whole reason the whole thought in my head was, why? There's no reason. There was no reason for that.
I'm screaming, hi, Gabriella. Hey, girl.
There was no reason.
And the fact that they've been walking for days, if she really wanted to go somewhere and do something, she didn't even, like, she could have, once again, like I said, she's a punk. You could have walked away. You could have left.
Why after that moment? Why was that the moment that you're thinking, yeah, he needs to go? Like, it didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Even if she was fighting him before she started crying, and then that seemed like, people are fighting, and then she breaks down, he consoles her. Okay, why are you hitting him now? After he said something that was valid. Like, it just, and then literally the epilogue is her going back to her village.
I didn't even understand that one. I don't lie. That was a fever dream. I was like,
hold on. I'm trying to see where they talking about
or jinns, or I don't know who she was talking to.
I'm trying to see anything about what? I don't know if this was really in her head.
I feel like it was. Or like in the magic.
She's talking about she went back to Gabriella said she left your kitchen.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's moving, y'all.
Man.
I don't know where she's going, but she's running away.
I don't know either, girl.
I'm sick. And Lily says that she goes back and she sees her sisters and they're naked and they're dead and they're dangling from nooses. Because I guess they killed all the Davidasis after. That's another thing a child does, making decisions and not thinking about the outcome. Because you sat there and you did all of that and you saved the little boy. You made your choice. Now all the other Davidasis are dead. Now you want to come back.
I didn't care about any of them.
Because now you're upset. Now you're on your feelings. Even that, like, who was she close to? It didn't make any sense for her to feel so sad about that because her friend left. The other ones didn't really mess with her. And the only person she really showed, like, care for was the little boy. Like, I would have been like, wow, that's so sad. I would have shed a tear, but I wouldn't have gone back and killed the whole village because of these girls. I'm sorry. For the boy, yes. Not for them. Because it literally says, falling to her knees, she dropped forward on her palms. A scream ripped out of her chest. Violent volcanoes. Smokeless flame. Jinn shit. And this woman is the dark goddess. How did she get a conch? Y'all know what a conch is.
The whole ending was just.
Where the hell she got a shell from? She was at the beach. Where the hell did she get a conch from?
The whole last chapter, I really was paying attention. Like I was really paying attention because after she hit him and left, I just kept thinking.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again?
I was a bit like him when she's on her dream. Yeah.
My Alexa's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And Lily says, taking the conch, Roma rose to her feet. Her shadow on the ground stretched in the shape of a hooded cobra. How? Her hair whipped around her head, and her eyes shone like black pearls. The men and women all shivered as one. For what you've done, she said in a whisper, I sentence you to death. You will bleed as we have. You will scream as we have. She raised the conch to her lips. I won't forgive. I won't forget, and blew the horn. So even now, what power? So you blew a horn? You're on a marching band? What is this, drum line?
Also, my interpretation was that she was possessed by whoever she was in the previous life. Because
possession makes you blow a horn?
How does she know how to wield the powers? And how does she activate it? Because she can't control it. So, and she didn't use it when she killed, not killed him, but when she hit him. So it wasn't activated then. That means she activated it after traveling for a while. So she knows how to do it. But she hasn't known how to do it this whole time. Like, it was just a whole...
Even the fact that the author didn't explain what happened, she blew the horn. Is this Yomo Kiyama? What happened when she blew the horn? Am I supposed to know? I don't know what's going on here.
I guess it means judgment. It's like... She meant her body.
There's no way. She literally said she blew a horn. She has the conch. Like, where did you get that? Where did you summon that? Is that like an extension? Is it like a third nipple thing? Like, I don't know what the girl was talking about.
I'm hoping that in the second book it starts with what happened in her journey back to the village, because they were not in the village anymore. So homegirl's out here traveling alone, battling an addiction. Did she meet someone to activate her powers? Did she get in touch with whoever's inside of her? Like, how did she go from she hit him when she almost just killed herself? So she's in a very vulnerable state, and now she's out here killing people. How did we get here? How did she?
And then when you killed the whole village, first of all, you're literally wanted by the Pharaoh. So you come back to where you were taken. Got it. You go back. You now trying to kill a whole village, and then what?
How did she even know the way to the village?
And what? You killed the horse. You killed the horse. Yeah.
Also, how much time had passed between her hitting him and her doing that? Because she has to take days to travel, unless she flew, which is another.
Yo, Nita, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's the funny thing, is that we're saying all this shit and you only have 30 pages left and you still have no idea any of this happened. She packed it all into like 2 chapters. It was insane.
Literally, this is the epilogue talking about she blew the horn. And
I'm telling you, after that chapter where Levi was with the rebels, literally the next chapter was just chaos. It was just, what the fuck is happening? Like, utter chaos.
I think the reason I gave her, we're going to reveal our ratings in a second, but when she literally said, I'm not an exceptional writer, and this book is far from perfect, but I hope that it depicts the fall of humanity, the absence of it in our world, and raises important questions about morality, identity, and the power of choice. I was like, oh, so you came to bring the flood. Okay. All right. And I just acted accordingly.
I feel like I could tell, though, when she started like reading her book, I was like, yeah, no, she's not here to play nice. She's here for chaos.
Yeah, and it's just like, but with, you're playing with the big boys. When you talk about adult fantasy.
She's trying to aim too high. Like, this is your first book. Like, just start.
What she should do, which I don't know why other authors don't, is age your characters up and age the content of the books as well. Have them start as this and let the next book be new adult.
She doesn't need to be 17.
No.
The only reason I could see her being 17 is because she's escaped having a second patron for so long. And it doesn't make sense that they would have her not have a patron for that long. But she doesn't need to be 17.
No, not
Levi
at all.
doesn't need to be that young.
She literally was like, yeah, I didn't know what you came here for.
It's good that she's self-aware, though.
Yeah. So tell the people, finally, what is your overall rating of the book? And it's funny because Ola recently just changed her rating. But tell them your first rating.
My rating's been a journey. I started the first chapter, I was like 2 stars immediately. And then I kept going, and I was like, okay, this is a solid 3. Not bad. And then the last few, as much as I complain about the randomness and the chaos of the last few chapters, those are my favorite chapters because shit was happening. Yeah. I'm telling you.
You can't tell that we like chaos. I mean, I'm complaining about it, but it was still just like, wow.
For like 20% to like 75%, I was in bed. Like I wasn't bored reading it. I was enjoying myself. There was no plot. It was repetitive. It was just I just kept waiting for shit to happen, and then it hit 75, and that literally the changing point was that chapter where we switched back, and she's in the cell, and I was like, holy shit, shit's been happening.
Yeah.
Levi's been out here having fun. She's been out here dying. And ever since then, I changed it to 4 from 3. And then I've read a couple more books since then. And then I read Jade City. And I just kept thinking, I kept looking back. Every time I kept looking back at this book, I just didn't see 4 stars. Like compared to all my other 4 stars. Like if I'm giving Jade City 4 stars, this can't be 4 stars. It doesn't live up to the rest of my books. And I was like, you know what? It's a solid 3, and that's not a bad thing. Like my rating for most of it was 3, and I changed it because of the excitement of stuff happening at the end. but I was right in the first place. It should be a solid 3. So like my final rating is a 3, and it's like a solid 3, not like a low 3 or anything. It's like a really good book for what it is.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be less than a 3 for me, but I will say just because of, even if it was chaos, I really just like to do that, to cause chaos, to really just like throw shit in the book and just to be like, yeah. And literally at the end to be like, y'all just gonna have to see where this lands. And I didn't come to give you no lovey-dovey. Even as pissed as I am that there's no romance, the fact that there wasn't any romance, I was just like, okay. I admire the cojones, I guess. So my rating is a 3.5. But I rounded it up to a 4 on Goodreads because I do feel like there's so much potential and I want other people to read it. Like, you got to push through this. And I feel the same way literally about We Hunt the Flame. Like, people always ask me, like, oh, is it worth it? We Hunt the Flame was not my favorite. But We Free the Stars? Yeah, that book is perfect.
I think, especially for her first book, it was really bold of her to not give the romance in the first book. Like, she came with an agenda and she wasn't going to let, like, the possibility of it doing better with the romance, like, swerve away from what she was trying to do. She was like, no, I will give you the romance when it's time.
Yeah, because the romance I would have gave it 5 just because.
Really?
They would have been in that room for you.
My favorite line of dialogue between them was when she said, the worst type of monsters are the ones that pretend not to be or something like that, or think they're not. And I was like, okay, I see the vision. And that was the moment I knew, yeah, we're not getting any romance in this book. Because that was like, what, halfway through the book? That was after she come back from the brothel. And I was like, yeah, no, this.
But it's crazy because in my head, I was like, he could have been like, yeah, I'm the nastiest monster you know. Are you dumb? Like, he could have been like, what's. You want to be on the dark side?
I was holding out for the romance, but after that was like halfway through the book, and she still said that, and I was like, yeah, no, the romance.
And once he sold her, I was like, yeah, no.
I think it's interesting that he didn't tell her that he sold her. Like, I get why, but also that was a bit.
Praying for him. Who is that? Who is that? Oh, is that the leader of the White Wolves?
Oh yeah.
I liked him. I could see him having a fatherly role with him.
That whole thing reminded me of, speaking about the 5th season, when she went back to the end of the 5th season. That whole like, I don't remember. It's been a while since I read it, but there was a scene where there was like kind of the same method of where there's a little sanctuary where it's secluded from the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
Let each other. I don't know. I just kept thinking about that.
I think you're talking about I think it was like an island, something to do with like the stones or whatever, and she was like away. She went somewhere, and then somebody awoke. That's the last thing I remember about 5th season. 5th season was actually insane. And when I got to the end, I literally was like, now I have to reread the entire book over because I missed this huge ass plot twist.
I don't think anyone can fully understand the 5th season.
I don't think N.K. Jemisin understands the 5th season.
That's what I was saying about the whole explanation thing. She just be saying stuff, and it's okay that you don't understand. Like, she don't give a shit if you understand or not. Just
and it's not fair because 5th season is definitely also sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah.
So she just would add more science, and who am I to question? I don't fucking like science. I don't like whatever you say. That book tripped me out. Every time I want to talk about it, that's all I remember. So I feel bad for anybody like asking me opinions or like or is reading the book, because that I just want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about anything else in the book. I just want to talk about how yeah,
and you can't really talk about the book without spoiling it. And you really want people to get that feeling of surprise because it's a really good surprise.
Look at our fave. Just pop it up.
Have you been here the whole time?
You know he's been here the whole time. I don't even remember their names. I don't even remember. I can't even. All I can think about is the end. They don't even need. Literally, I can't. That's why it's in my closet. The second and third book, I have the entire series. I don't know when I'll ever get to that. You know, another adult fantasy
I am so stupid.
that I'll get to. By R.F. Kuang.
Poppy Lore.
Yeah.
I heard that one's pretty dark too.
You haven't read Poppy War?
I have it on my list.
Yeah. No, you need to read Poppy War. That's your next book. You have to read.
I feel like I would enjoy that shit though.
You have, especially you just read Jade City. You have to read Poppy War. You absolutely have to.
I'm stupid. I saw that comment and I thought he was talking about the homeowners association, and I was like, what the got to do with homeowners? I was like, HOA, what are we talking about?
Okay.
That's how you know I'm moving, because that's what I'm thinking about.
I'm screaming. But yeah, you definitely have to read The Poppy War. But that was another book that was like, so yeah, precisely. So I finished the first book and I can't have it in my spirit to keep going.
It's a trilogy, right?
Yes. I think I'll read the rest when we're not currently experiencing a pandemic and war. I need something light. Even this book was very heavy, but you have to read Poppy War. You're prepared. You've read, like you be reading adult fantasy. You have to read Poppy War. You just read
JC. Yeah, I read adult fantasy. The thing with adult fantasy is though, I've been branching out to other genres lately and going back. They're long as shit.
I've only read a few. Like I haven't read any Brandon Sanderson, whatever this name is.
I used to be eating them shit up like 2 a week, and now I'm like, I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Okay. The second book, I don't know if I'll ever get there because I'm traumatized by the first book. But okay, everybody, this is our last thing. Give us your ratings again at the end. Have they changed? Have you added a star, taken a star away? If you're still reading, Nina and the rest of y'all, what are your projected ratings for the series or for the book? You see what I mean? Nobody has ever been okay reading the series. No one. To the point where Arf Kwong was literally like baiting people on Twitter and was like, yeah, people were literally like sending her videos crying and adding her. And she was like, yeah, it's great.
I love authors that want to bring chaos. Like, they just don't give a shit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the Side of the Drowned is short. It just is.
It does not feel short.
It doesn't feel short, but like literally withholding it, I was like, wow. I thought it was like double the size. It gives me that. Is your rating still? Are you fully on 3.5 or a 3?
Yeah, I think I'm settled on 3. After like what 3 or 4 weeks, yeah. It's been changing a lot, but it's 3.
Not painful, please, por favor. 3.75. Okay, all right. Let me grab our book for next month since I have it. Love having arcs. I'm so surprised that I still get arcs. Shout out to the publishers that still send them to me because I do use them for my own purposes. Okay. Not necessarily for what y'all are looking for, but it happens.
Wait, Arena, how much do you have left with the book? Yeah, most people are saying 3.
I actually have our next 2 months book, so let me grab that one too. Since we're here, y'all get a sneak peek preview. I'm trying not to burn myself.
100 pages.
100 pages, yeah, because y'all like playing.
Only Leanne did the homework. The rest of y'all just
Literally. So I was going back and forth about which book I wanted for March. And even I always feel this way about Black History Month as well. I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do a Black Muslim author. But literally this came out February 1st. And so I was like, I don't know. You people have to wait to get shipped, whatever. I don't know. But I had to Side of the Drowned literally for a year. It came out March 2021. I wanted to read it. So with these next 2 books, I was like, this one literally comes out yesterday. This one came out 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to have both authors present because I haven't done an author interview this year. And for sure, I want to have Layla Sabrine. But if I were able to have Sabata here, y'all wouldn't be able to tell me shit. I want y'all to know. I want you to know. You can't tell me anything. So our book for the month of March is You Truly Assumed by Layla Sabrine, which is so funny because I remember, I think we're mutuals on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I remember her talking about the fact that she was writing it. I think around the time that I was complaining about there not being Muslim YA books by Black authors, and me starting the Iqra trials. And I remember her talking about she was writing it and like her pitching it. So the fact that it's here, and she sent me an arc, which is so sweet. Oh, Nia, you're almost done. You'll be done by tonight. Honestly, the crazy stuff that's going on, you'll be done an hour after the show is over.
Yeah.
It
flies by pretty fast.
The cover is so good. I know people are like, "Oh, she should cover her arms." Shut up. The amount of stuff that y'all leave the black people alone. Damn it.
Really? Oh my god, people are so.
So the description is Sabria is devastated. First, okay, wait. Let me just preface. Unfortunately, there is terrorism involved in this book. Authors, Muslim authors, and then especially a black Muslim author, she's gonna have to do a lot for a publisher to pay attention to her. Come on, you already know. Don't say anything because y'all let Tahira Mafi not write one but two books about being post 9/11. Okay, don't say anything. Okay, Sabria is devastated when a terrorist attack rocks the U.S., stirring anti-Islamic sentiment. She takes solace in writing in her private journal, "You Truly Assumed," only to discover it isn't private after all, and there are many others out there like her. Zakat knows finding a kindred voice online is fate, yet when her own haven is vandalized, Zakat wonders if she'll ever feel safe again. Farah doesn't want to visit her father and his new family, but sometimes a change of place brings a change of heart for Farah, for the boy she might love, and for the new friend she meets through You Truly Assumed. When threatening comments and emails try to silence them, the three black Muslim girls must decide, shut things down and stay safe, or risk it all to let their voices be heard. So they're bloggers, which I loved. I was like, wow, not black Muslim women bonding on the internet. It's almost like my brand. It's quite literally like everything that I do. I mean, look at us. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how we got here. I'm very excited for this book.
How long is it? It looks pretty thick for a contemporary.
First of all, she's so cute. Look at her. Look at her. She's so cute. She's so cute. Oh my gosh, I don't want to spoil myself. Yeah. 344 pages.
No, that's not bad.
So yeah, we'll read this pretty fast. Honestly, y'all have no excuse but to read this book. And to be honest, if anybody that claims to be a follower or a supporter of mine are in the book club and you don't read this book, it's anti-black, please unfollow me. I will gaslight you and I will curse you out on this live show. I promise you. There's no excuse. Because you don't have not one, not two, but three black Muslim women written by a black Muslim author. And she's a blogger? Yeah. Yeah. Because if you hate me, just say that. I'll actually block you. You don't even have to unfollow me. I'll block you. I'll block you. And because y'all are here, and because I have the book physically in my hands, the book that we are reading for April is our first non-fantasy book. And I think is this adult? Hold on. Let me double check. I don't think it's adult. But our first non-fantasy book by CashApp. Oh no, this is YA. It says ages 14 and up. All My Rage. Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, thank you. Because I don't want to have to embarrass y'all. I don't want y'all to see me like that. Okay? So I'm trying to do some kind of a blurb. Why is the editor writing a note? Is she?
That would be me as an editor.
Okay. There are trigger warnings. It says, hold on. All My Rage contains the following content: drug and alcohol addiction, physical abuse, Islamophobia, mentions of repressed sexual assault, tense exchange with law enforcement, and death. I actually love that she mentioned that because so many people will overlook the fact that there's like cops in the book, and that's traumatic. How many pages? Y'all, if I end up spoiling my public books, I'm going to 374. Look, our next two books are less than 400 pages. Y'all have no excuse. Look at them. Look at them. Tiny. Oh my gosh, it is during Ramadan. I just remember. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna be just a little depressed. But I mean, any feelings you have, you just pray about it, you know? I also do want to do a little extra book. I think it's called The Simple Hadith. I think I told you about this in the discussion thingy. But I want to have it as in
For March?
No, for April, for Ramadan.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't want people to feel like they have to read an Islamic book if they don't want to. And there are a few people that aren't Muslim in the Iqra trials. So yeah, we will be reading that as like our little extra book. It's called The Simple Sita. That's what it's called. We will be reading that as a little extra thing, get some blessings while we're being book nerds. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. I want to thank you for being here, being present. You know what I mean? For dragging the book. for being one of the only people that read it. Because
I
the
think
girl is
the people that read it, and I'm very upset.
how sick. How sick. Okay. Y'all are starting this year off kind of weak. I'm gonna need y'all to get it together for March and for April. And I think for May, we're reading This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. My first Tahira Mafi book since Shatter Me. Yeah, we're getting into that. The girl has been eating that book up.
Did she stop writing?
Hmm?
Did she stop writing that? Like, is it like a new one, or is it part of the Shatter Me?
Oh, it's literally like a Persian inspired fantasy.
But
So I guess she heard that we don't want to hear about her and Ransom Riggs. We don't care. We do not care. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, I know you have like stuff to do. Allegedly, you have a life. If you don't know, I go live every Sunday at 8 p.m. EST to talk about my life and talk about guys and being sexually
and
harassed.
I'm always there bullying her, as I should.
Yeah, constantly being bullied and assaulted. And I will say that this weekend's Sincerely Sundays is going to be very interesting, just because of everything that I went through this week.
You don't want to miss the Sunday.
You don't want to miss this Sunday, especially if I have updates
from the week.
There hasn't been any updates yet. We're seeing literally. I'm trying to see till Friday if I get a response, and if not,
wait, none.
Nada. I know.
No. What is today? Today Wednesday?
Yeah.
I know, wrong live, but
I know that the event was on Monday. Okay, maybe people are right. I don't know. Oh, here. I was going live on here. Yeah, please finish the book. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you guys enjoyed it. Even the fact that you guys didn't finish it, I really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for joining. Oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe if you could if you ever wake up in the middle of the night, I'll be on live. What else I have to say? Like I said in the description, Ola doesn't have active social media because she's technically a ghost. There's no mention of her on the internet except for here. So you won't be able to find her anywhere. But if you're in the Discord servers, whether it's Main Squeeze or the Iqra Child Lounge, she's there. Actually, she's more in the book discussions, talking about some nonsense.
I have social media, so I'm always there.
Yeah, so she's just always in the Discord. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for being here. For all the people watching later on, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, bye. Good night.